not synced. All right, 7 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. We meet with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jackie and Roll.
I do.
Mr. Passman is here, so we have a quorum. Item C, adoption of the agenda. Mr. North has a few edits from when the agenda was published. Can you walk us through those?
You bet. First item is in the open enrollment, so number 7 of the new business items. This afternoon, I added 2 additional open enrollment out. Brooklyn and Tabitha Sithabong. So it's on the assembly. Students that have been attending Rock Valley, the family just moved to Dune, so they're going to continue. And then I'd like to add number 7 to hiring. Mr. Cruz interviewed Joel DeWitt for assistant boys basketball. He just accepted the position verbally. So I'd like to add number 7 for hiring.
If I could get a motion to adopt the agenda with those changes, you ready?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda with those changes.
Okay. We have a motion and second to adopt the agenda with changes as noted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item D, public input on non-agenda items. I don't think anybody signed up to speak. Okay. Move on to item E, approval of minutes of past meetings. To review those and questions or comments, let us know. Otherwise, I'll take the motion after you review them.
We have a bunch of both.
Motion and second to approve the minutes of the past meetings. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Moving on to item F, approval of financial items.
The first part, school business official report, have 5 items in there just to quickly review. I'll give you a brief summary of registration dollars collected thus far. That is not anything that's been collected online in August at this time, but that is July online registration, July bound activity ticket sales, and then in-person registration received from the offices. So as you can see the division of how things are total there. The next item is the save estimates for fiscal year 24. Quick memo just to say that they have to give us an estimate on or before August 15th according to Iowa code. So it's there for you. It's very tiny, and for some reason it didn't save the correct way, but as you can see, it's around $943,000. So just something to keep in mind as we move forward with our capital outlay and our construction projects.
So those are estimated like per month. That's
Mhm.
So I assume the columns should be like July of 23
Yep.
through.
And then, we'll go into the audit, request, the first one from, KRP, asking for an additional extension no later than September 30th. They had me, it has to come from the district, email the state. As you can see, their reasoning behind it, I think, as we've been saying, they're just struggling like every other employment, place of employment in finding people, plus they've had a few issues just within their partnership. So that is the first one, and then the second one is the state requesting, actually it was, I had them backwards, sorry. The state is requesting an update, so then I sent the email to Lori, and that was her response. I then emailed the state, and their response back was just continue to be vigilant in, talking with your audit firm and keeping an update to the state, which I will do. Just take it day by day, week by week, and see where we go. They are scheduled to come for fiscal year 23's audit in September, so we'll see where we stand with either of those things.
I think in one of her messages, we're one of 6 districts that they're working to complete, so.
And then I think Mr. Jorth did hear through the grapevine that they have not taken on some districts, any new or even existing relationships going forward, just trying to lighten their load. So we have fiscal year 23 with them and fiscal year 24, and I'm not sure what they're gonna do. So
Hopefully in
another half a year, they'll have a little bit better outlook on things.
Otherwise, if you remember, when we put our RFP out last time, this firm and then Deloitte out of, I think it was Fargo. They have an office in Sioux Falls, but Deloitte was the other one. So, and we put out 8 or 10 RFPs. So,
We'll see what happens.
see what happens.
And then the last attachment is the candidate's guide to school election. On page 5 are the dates. First day that papers can be filed is Monday, August 28th, and the last day that papers can be filed is Thursday, September 21st, and must be to me by 5 p.m. I have packets ready to go in my office, so for those that are up for election, you can sure stop in my office, and anyone else that is interested.
So you'll see some stuff in the paper here over the course of the next couple weeks with the deadlines and how to get a hold of us. Links from the School Board Association as well.
On to the financial report, we'll go to the annual treasurer's report for fiscal 23 first. That is just giving you a summary of things that I have received after June 30th for fiscal year 23. You can see where expenditures and I'm not sure if that is incorrect report. Nope, that is correct. Okay, I'm a little scared there for a second. Revenue is not complete yet. I'm still waiting for several things from the state and from the AEA, so that will increase. Expenditures, I think we're fairly close to the expenditures of where they're going to end up. I have a couple more things in tonight's packet for non-public transportation. That's a flow-through item, but as you can see, where we are ending for fiscal 23 at $600,000 up in expenditures, and revenue is going to, I'm guessing it's going to be fairly equal to where it was last year. I can't really tell you right now. I have to go back and look and see what we're waiting for. But moving into annual treasurer's report for this year, this is for July. It's a pretty meek report, as you can see, because we don't get a lot of things from anywhere in July. Just a little bit of miscellaneous income in July, and we start already with our expenditures, salaries, benefits. All those things are down because we only pay our 12-month salaries in July and August, and just a little bit of summer school and those kinds of things. But otherwise, it's pretty pretty limited salaries. My teaching staff and anyone for fiscal year 23 is accrued back to June. So that's why it's not showing in this report for July for those salaries. So it's just, like I said, custodians, administrators, and anyone in the current month. Special revenue report. Not a lot going on in that report. Management, 131,000. Physical plant and equipment, 49,000. Playground, right, just under 100,000. And then save is at 864. I did not receive, I was telling Mr. Jordan at the end of today, I did not receive a last payment request from Vanderwent for the construction project, but their final completion was just Monday, so we'll expect to see that here in the next week or so, I would assume. And we've paid them a little over half of what the original estimate was, so I'm guessing the last bill will be between $400,000 and $500,000. And activities,
Jackie,
yes,
is that through July.
as through July.
So
Oh, sorry, yeah,
June.
up on the top, so it says June.
June, July.
That is through July.
Okay.
Yep.
A big deal, just.
And then activities report, that is also through July, I have that one correct. Top. Activity funds, 184,000. Hot lunch, 517. Student construction, as we've discussed in the past, is a negative 103. That'll continue until that project will continue to go negative until that project is complete and the house has its final sale at the end of this next school year. FFA farm, $243, and the split fund. What is not shown in the split fund is what was paid out for our first HSA fund for our employees, those that chose that. That'll show in next month, but it was right around $184,000. We funded $2,650 for individuals and $5,300 for any employee plus children or families. So
How did that compare to what our estimate was? It was pretty close.
pretty close.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a good segment of staff that went over to the HSA. So I'm interested to see how those first few months go for people and the pros and cons that people express. And in the summary list of bills, I had 3 different reports out there. I had an August, and then I had a prepaid and a prepaid, or an additional. I just combined them all. So if you had a question about a specific vendor, it should be in alphabetical order per fund. So if you have any specific questions about any of the bills, please let me know. Again, if you see anything in there for a non-public school, you'll see the description is non-public transportation that is flowed through from the state. I have to file a report for every student that attends non-public school and is transported by the school. The state reimburses us for those dollars, and I send it on to the school.
Any questions for Jackie?
Busy month for Jackie, kind of finishing up last year and continuing to track FY 23 and start on FY 24.
Trying to get my mind around the fact that FY 22 is not
Done.
done, so. And neither is FY 23, and I'm moving into FY 24, so.
Feel.
Motion to approve those after you've reviewed and are ready.
Make a motion to approve the summary list of bills. And financial things, yes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the list of financial items. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item G, administrative reports, discussion items. First item, recognition, congratulations to student, staff, and community. Mr. Jordan.
You bet. In our student recognition, we I'd like to congratulate our all-conference softball and baseball players. Riley Weiler was named to the second team all-conference for softball, and Corinne Christensen was honorable mention. Reese Vanderzee and Matt Deeren were first team all-conference for baseball. Sam Christensen, second team, and Simon Knichty was honorable mention. And couldn't locate exactly where Reese was for all-state baseball. I don't- Second team or third team. I know it wasn't first team, but I'll add that to Assembly when I'm able to locate that. But I do know he received all-state recognition. In the staff, I'd like to thank Steve Bresky for all his work with the construction projects this summer, his staff, for coordinating with Gary Kurth and DGR, Vanderwent, and all the subcontractors. We're blessed to have Steve, and his attention to detail is second to none. So as you saw tonight, kids are using the new parking lot. Tomorrow night, we're going to host Lamar's for scrimmage. So we'll have fans down at the football field and track, and that's ready to go. Grass is growing. We've got some ways to go on that, but the visitors entrance with the ticket booth is ready to go. We aren't charging tomorrow night, but if we needed to, we'd be ready. So we've got full ADA access from the visitors bleachers all the way to the concession stand and restrooms. So really nice upgrade down there. And then can't say enough for the improvements here in the parking lot. So hats off to Steve, and thanks to everybody involved with the project. And then I'd like to thank Mr. Engelman, the teacher leaders, for the preparation for professional learning today. And then we'll continue that on Monday and Tuesday. Today was a good day. Like I told staff this morning, the building is meant to be full. So open house last night, kids walking the hallways with their families, staff in the building today. Just a renewed energy and excitement for the start of the school year. So thanks to everybody with that. Frontier Bank did serve lunch today. It came in grilled hamburgers and had chips and cookies and beverages for staff. So we thank them. PTC has sponsored breakfast next Tuesday. So appreciate those partners. And then Jen with Homeowners Financial Group has made a donation to the student meals donations account, kind of get the year started and help those families that need a little extra support as we get the year started. So we thank those three groups, appreciate their willingness to partner with us.
Thank you. I don't think we have any formal principal reports this month. Is there anything you guys?
Mr. Allen couldn't join us today.
I can just update you on a few things. Number one, you're going to see later in your packet, Mitch Van Beek for a long-term subbing opportunity in ag. So right now, we currently have no options as far as a certified teacher to go into the ag classroom. We're diligently searching, and there's some unique authorization pathways that we can take, but we still got to have people that are interested in applying. So we're still working through that opening, maybe to partner with some neighboring districts for FFA. Agreement there, and just so we don't miss out on anything on the FFA front. In addition, the newsletter that I sent out really emphasized attendance again this year. That seems to be something that we continue to need to address and speak on. Last night, the new orientation for 7th grade students and families went really well again, well attended, so I appreciate that, and the families that were able to make it out. And then the handbook edits, not a whole lot this year. Not a lot of changes. There's just some minor changes. So if you guys have any questions on that later on. Here.
Thank you, Mr. Engelman. On to superintendent reports, Mr. Dorn.
Yeah, I just continue to provide the timeline for the bus barn FFA farm with our plan to take that out to bid here in November. Scott and I met with FEH, and Lane Menning was a part of that conversation. Good continued design. We made a couple tweaks to the original design, and I've started to personalize that based upon the new construction materials. As you can see there, we hope to have that out to bid and back for consideration in December, so that we can begin construction similar to this current summer's projects as soon as the snow melts. Anything else you want to add, Scott?
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Jordan?
Nope.
Okay, move on to board committees. Looks like, finance committee update on the audit.
It's a repeat of what I said.
Any other committees other than, website, buildings and grounds, things to cover here in a little bit, but any other committees, anything to report? Okay, we'll move on to item H, old business, which is a tabled item on the save bond terms, nothing new on that. So move on to item I, new business. First item, consider mission, vision, values, and goals for 23-24.
Start each school year. We've revisited our mission, vision, values, and goals, kind of our foundational statements to our students, staff, and community. We don't have any changes this year, no additions or revisions to any of the goals. Just asking for reaffirming the language that we have here as we start the new school year.
Anybody have any comments? Desired changes? So I'll entertain a motion to approve those. Discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve the mission, vision, values, and goals.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to approve the mission, vision, values, and goals for this year. As noted. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Moving on to item 2, consider students and employee handbooks for this year.
In the summary, I give you really a very brief description based upon Mr. Engelman and Mr. Harmon's work with the handbooks. And if you were to open the document, we highlighted exactly those changes in the language to the student handbook. And I don't have any changes or updates to the employee handbook last year.
We don't have to add anything about the HSA, the benefits section or anything, right?
I didn't in the handbook, but I can double check to see if there's reference to the
I just didn't know if
insurance.
we had to, so.
The master contract simply references the insurance amount, which has stayed the same as far as what they get to apply towards insurance, so
Okay.
I don't know that there's anything else, but that may be something we'll have to open up in language.
Yeah.
And this is a
Language year.
Yeah.
So,
I have a question on page 52. The language was added, and I'm just looking for clarification on what it actually means. The Warwell outside food in its original packaging be permitted in the lunchroom. What's the
So
intent there?
there is, and Darcy can speak on this more clearly, but there's always been I think it's coming from federal or wherever from, that we can't bring in outside. Like if it comes in a Casey's container or comes in Subway containers, you're not supposed to be selling, promoting outside food vendors. So we tell kids, put them in a Tupperware, put them in something else, try to bring in a Subway bag or Subway that's marketing Subway and all that. Nothing against those entities.
Sure.
Those are, and kids don't eat our lunch, we want them to eat.
Yeah.
But it's all about bringing in that kind of,
So what about like the small Frito-Lay bags of chips?
we don't dice
Not
it
really
that
much.
much, not
Okay.
that much.
Okay, that's why. I was just
No.
curious about the intent
No.
of it. I understand.
No, so
Okay.
we're basically for large pizza boxes and foot-long subs and such, and sometimes those come with the beverages as well, and we just get.
Engineered black and white.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay,
I know,
yeah.
it's a difficult one, but Darcy and I usually touch base beginning of each year just to double check, what are we allowed to bring in, not bring in, and that's always one of them that she talks to me about, and we try to stop it when we see it.
Okay.
We don't catch every one of them, but
Darcia
It was highlighted, so.
yeah.
Darcia attends Jason's kind of opening assembly on the first day of school, kind of review all the good updates with food and nutrition, so.
Any other questions or comments on either of those handbooks? So entertain a motion to approve them when you're ready.
Make a motion to approve student employee handbooks.
Like,
A motion and second to approve the student and employee handbooks for this coming school year. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And on to item 3 of new business. Consider public hearing notice for land swap of Rock Rapids Development Group.
So this is where we might need to check our calendars, but it's my recommendation to hold a public hearing at our next regularly scheduled meeting, which if we stick to the second Monday would be September 11th, 6:50 for the proposal and resolution to enter into the agreement with Rock Rapids Development Corp. For the exchange of properties at the FFA farm. And some of the images and maps that you have here, you can see exactly what we're swapping, what was previous, or what's currently the school's property and what is the development groups and what the land swap would mean for both entities. And then Gary also kind of gave us a rough sketch of where the bus barn would be as well.
And we're not voting on that tonight. That would be after the hearing, whatever we schedule the
Yep.
meeting. This is just a business item to set the public hearing, essentially.
And then we would publish 10 to 20 days prior to whatever date we would set. And then, much like our public hearings we had previously, the public could make comment at that time. And then you would take action at that next meeting.
So September 11th. there's
I have two things that day. I'll have cross country. Cross country would probably be done. I'd maybe prefer if we can change it. Yeah,
a Wall and Sioux Center.
does the Tuesday work?
That's Tuesday, look for everyone. Tuesday the 12th? Tuesday the 12th. So look like there's 7th and 8th football.
I'll have that, but I would guess I'd be back by then.
Let's see.
Never done high school football before, but I would.
You're
Yeah,
7th,
thank you.
right? 7th grade?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think you'd be done by 7th.
I think I'd be done then.
Tuesday the 12th, okay? Okay. So do we need a resolution?
That's what you,
Roll call
Another.
to set that? Okay. So if I could get a motion to set that public hearing date for September 12th at 7 o'clock.
6:50.
6:50.
6:50, thank you. We'll- Jackie.
So
Right.
moved.
Second.
Chance.
Aye.
Postma.
Aye.
Harder.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Koo.
Aye. Okay, move on to item 4. Consider public hearing notice for sale of parcel A of current bus barn property. So we did have some discussion on this, setting the agenda about the timing of it, but I'll let Mr. Jorth introduce it and we can talk after that.
So again, this map here shows the current bus barn property divided into two parcels. So parcel B is where our current structure is. Parcel A, in this kind of quasi L shape, is the current existing easement that we have with Kids Club is the dashed line for the parking lot at Kids Club. And then it extends a little bit further to the north. Right here are some storage units to the north. So the thought and the conversation is we would divide the property into two parcels. And this is what we would ultimately offer for sale, parcel A. And in our, kind of informal conversations with Kids Club, they're interested in this piece of property for expansion of the current Kids Club building. I haven't had any other entities, but all we're doing is setting a hearing date. We would hold public hearing, and then if indeed we wanted to move forward at that same meeting, the action item would be to, like we did with the industrial tech house, essentially set an asking price. And then a future meeting to receive those bids for the property. We would retain parcel B until a point where we wanted to do something with it. If we wanted to sell it in the future or retain it in the structure to a future date.
How is that easement written for parking? Is that to Kids Club?
Yep.
Easement stays with the property. So if whoever buys it, they would have to agree to that easement.
Correct.
Correct.
Or that's part of the deal.
Parcel A is the dotted line.
Parcel A is this L shape right here. The
So
dotted line is
The
the
dark.
Okay.
easement.
So up
So it's-
to the building.
Nope, this is not the building,
That's-
this is. The building, I would say, is like centered in this.
Okay.
A lot of it's gravel lot.
Correct.
So I guess I would ask Buildings and Grounds if you think we're ready to do this, or if you prefer to matriculate the ball, that's a little bit further down the field before we make that decision to parcel that off. Just in case we run into something with the bus barn property, either through bidding or construction or else. I mean, it's in the hopper, ready to go whenever we need it. We just need to pull the trigger.
I would be inclined to hold off. Just until we get other customers up and going before we sell it. I mean, there's no need to sell it right now, and I guess the other part of it is, do we limit ourselves if we sell off parcel A with any potential bidders on parcel B that maybe wants the whole property?
I would think to wait also.
Which
Yeah,
if
thank-
anybody else would want the whole property, the easement is still in the
Yeah,
kids club, and that could always
Yeah.
be situated differently down the line.
thoughts?
I'm fine with that.
Tabling then? You okay with that? Okay, so I'll take the motion to table when you're ready.
I will make a motion to table the public hearing notice for parcel A. for the bus barn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to table the public hearing notice for sale of parcel A of the current bus barn property. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. None, item 5, consider property and casualty insurance.
Met with Lisa Deeren here after Dead Week to review the property and casualty insurance along with a variety of other coverages. You can see I've got a table here that compares the premiums over year, and then a 5-year change. The specifics are in that document that's attached. Obviously, the greatest jump is in cyber, but the greatest single dollar value is in the property itself. Talking to Lisa, it's a function of a couple different things. Number one, inflation and kind of construction prices currently, but then also just the claims that EMC has been processing over the last couple of years. And so that's really driving the 16% overall increase. Cyber, again, more claims, more cyber attacks. Just this morning, Curtis took us through some additional security features that we're implementing with staff. So not only are we increasing our coverage with cyber, but we're taking measures to try to protect the district's data.
That 16.6%, overall, but then even 25% for property. I think across the board's going up for everybody. I know I got my bill like a month ago. Had to take a deep breath, but seems to be in line, I guess.
Yep.
And we don't really have a lot of other options out there, right?
If you remember, 2 years ago, we went to bid, and really there's two
Right.
players in the
The
kind
other
of
one
public.
has limited
Exactly.
status. Any questions or discussion? So what's the total amount you need us to authorize, Mr. Dorth? The
188,
188?
and that's a management fund.
We don't have that management, but we will.
Fine. So if there's no more questions or discussion, I'll take that motion to approve that amount. Are you ready?
Make a motion to approve the property casualty insurance in the amount of $188,000, $188,051.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to approve the property and casualty insurance for the amount listed. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item 6, superintendent contract.
Yeah, I'll let Dave and Amy kind of review the contract if you guys had any questions. They worked on it together following last month's evaluation.
Yeah, in terms of language, it's pretty much the same as Brent's previous contract had been. It removes the rolling terminology in there, so this is just purely a 2-year contract. 2 years. It also lists the salary to be paid for the next upcoming 12 months as well at $148,720, which is a 4% increase from his current salary, retroactive back to July 1, I believe. So 4% was the same as the majority of the other rate increases that we approved as well. So the intent would be here is a year from now, or at the end of the cycle of the evaluation cycle, that contemplate potentially another 2-year contract to extend that beyond as well. So, or whatever we would decide to do as a board. But otherwise, the language is pretty much the same. So, questions?
Anything to add?
No.
Okay. Questions? Discussion? So I'll entertain that motion when you're ready.
Make a motion to approve the superintendent contract with Ryan Short for 2020, the two-year contract for 2023 through 2020.
I'll second.
A motion and second to approve the 2-year agreement for Mr. Jorth, superintendent for the next 2 school years. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried. On to item 7, consider open enrollment requests.
Again, we've got 5 open enrollment in requests. And then we've got 6 open enrollment out with the 2 additional open enrollment out requests that we received earlier today. Again, if you recall, a year ago, the legislature changed the law in regards to receiving and approving open enrollments in and out. Really can only deny now if there's a lack of classroom space. And so parents and families can open enroll at any time. This is just a new norm for us.
Good on classroom size for these?
Yeah, so if you remember, we're really monitoring first grade. We don't have any first graders here, so it was fortuitous for us.
Entertain a motion to approve those when you're ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the open enrollment requests.
Second.
There's a motion and second to approve the open enrollment requests as listed. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Moving on to item 8, personnel hiring as listed. No resignations, but we also have some volunteers under item B. Take
Yep.
those all together.
You bet. I know
Is okay with that?
Mr. Engelman already talked about Mitch Van Beek and our plan to use Mitch as a long-term sub. I know that Mitch is volunteering. He's listed also as volunteer football coach. He's continuing to work with the girls wrestling team as assistant wrestling coach. And Mitch and Dwayne Postma have been collaborating in preparation for his start with kids. So even though Dwayne isn't going to be in the classroom on a day-to-day basis, he's going to be that point of reference for Mitch as he has questions and might need some support in planning and preparing for the lessons and units. Then we have 2 food service staff members that Darsha is recommending for hiring, Jolene Cordles and Kayla Voorhees. Clara Black is a bus driver. She moved into the district. She's actually Heather Hymanson's mother. She's driven previously at Wade BCIG. So excited anytime we can add a bus driver. I know Mr. Engelman is greatly appreciative of that because he ended up driving quite a bit as a substitute. And then she's going to drive an afternoon bus route for us. Yep. And then Amanda Rust, part-time custodian. If you recall, not only did Matt Bixman move on, but so did Linda Peterson. So we're a little short-handed in the custodial department. And I know Steve interviewed a full-time person just last night. So hopefully here we have another person to bring to you in September. And then I did speak with the personnel committee about Jerry Poletsky. If you recall, we were unable to hire a 3rd assistant football coach this summer. And I volunteered kind of at the start of the season when Jerry was all by himself and helped me with the assistant coach. Trevor Ranke was still in school at Northwestern, but we were never able to find a permanent freshman JDR coach. So Jerry ended up coaching that freshman team. So we'd like to kind of retroactively compensate him for that extra time, for all that extra work he did with that group.
Which is why it's listed as summer 23.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So we're going to continue to advertise to try to find a freshman coach for next year. So this is just kind of a 1-year, hopefully temporary thing where Jerry had to do both ends of the program. And then we amended the agenda to include Joel DeWitt as assistant boys basketball for this winter. Volunteers, again, you can see are listed in there. The only new one, like I already mentioned, is Mitch Van Beek volunteering to help with the football program. But Dr. Cody, Dr. Nick, they come to a lot of our games and contests, especially our lower level stuff, where our trainer might be at a varsity practice or can't be in both places at the same time. Paul Konechny continuing to help with wrestling. That's both the girls and boys programs like he did last year. And then Dwayne Postma, long-term coach for us, continues to volunteer with the football program.
Questions on any of those? Otherwise, when you're ready, we'll take a motion to approve the hirings and the volunteers as listed.
Second.
Motion second to approve the hirings and volunteers as listed under personnel. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Item J, announcements, dates to remember. A lot of them now.
Yeah, things are coming fast and furious. Next Wednesday will be our first day with students. Second day, volleyball teams see their first action. The varsity will head down to Sioux Center. And then next Friday, we will host Emmitsburg for the first varsity football game. Our preschoolers will have open house, as it says there, on the 31st, and their first day will be the Tuesday after Labor Day on the 5th. Then I will update the last one since we settled on Tuesday, the 12th, for the next regular meeting. At 6:50, we'll have the public hearing for the community to provide feedback in regards to the land swap with the development group.
All right, we'll move on to, okay, bill review.
That's where you left off the last time.
No.
We're just gonna go back, those are all last year's. Right there.
So Austin Benda, continuing, we haven't,
So that was,
yep. We've offered to two, we've interviewed two different athletic trainers, and neither has accepted. So Vera and us continue to advertise and search. When Austin can't make it, we'll have a consistent sub for him as well. So. No permanent solution as of yet. Don't bring me to the wrong thing.
Just me.
And then. This makes sense. Well, that's good. This is good.
Okay,
And then, this, sales tax on that one.
yep, there sure is. Yep. He had a fun one this month. The one you have to try and make heads or tails of, there's no heads or tails. And there were two.
Take a motion to adjourn when you're in.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
A motion to adjourn, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Bless you.
Opposed? You're adjourned.
After last month's, right, we have another.
All right, thanks, guys.
I'm assuming then that we did, that the conference approved, the bound, the ticket, or the cash option.
Yeah, the cashless will still accept cash at the gate. You know, our hope is by the end of the basketball season, people are familiar with, you can pay with a credit card or pay in advance, but football games, volleyball games, we're still gonna have cash at the gate because we know people aren't, not everybody's gonna be ready for that, especially like when we play Emmitsburg, they're in the Siouxland Conference. We got two, Western Christian and Cherokee are not in the Siouxland Conference. We go to both of those places this year, but it's just gonna be a process for families and fans. But as Jackie reported, our activity tickets we sold on Bound and the word's getting out.
So will all hours be unbound then also?
So if you go to Bound right now,
Oh, as far as your board ones, I think Dan's working on something.
Yep.
To actually send them.
so you should get an email from Dan for board member passes.
Still recording. Is it still recording?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. But similar with our staff, right? So our staff sign up for extra duty.
Did you tell Jeff?
Yep. I still have football practice.
Probably.
So, conference has so many passes that each school gets. Dan and Leah can assign and push those out to folks. You just create an account on Bound with your email and you show it up at the game, you just show the QR code on your phone, or if you want to print out the paper ticket and bring it with you.
So is that what, so everybody that buys one then, get that same process? as Students are getting those as well?
So all 7th through 12th grade students, families that bought them for kids under the age of, 6th grade and under, kids will have that. They don't have a phone themselves. We can print the QR code and laminate it for them and all that stuff. Dan and Jason reviewed that with staff today, and again, it's new. We know it's gonna be a process, but our hope is by the end of basketball season, everybody's aware of the change. All right. Thanks, guys.